customers to pay. We give you the funds up front, then we wait for your customers to pay us. Fund your business today. Call AmeriFactors right now.
800-847-1183. 800-847-1183. 800-847-1183. That's 800-847-1183.
Good afternoon and welcome to Picks and Parlays Radio here on the Sports Byline Broadcast Network. I'm your host, Chelsa Messinger. You can find me every day on Twitter. My handle is just my name, at Chelsa Messinger. And also check us out on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. We do stream the show live every weekday, 1 Pacific, 4 Eastern. We do appreciate your feedback and all your views over the weekend. Man, you guys were active. I guess everybody wanted to bet some games. Hope you did well. I personally hit a 5-team parlay, which I was pretty proud of myself for. 4 college games, 1 NFL game. Unfortunately, it was a teaser, so I didn't win a whole lot of money. But you know what? I'll take a win any day of the week. We go over what we can learn from week 1 of the NFL because we are delving in to those Monday Night Football games, Broncos, Raiders, and then a little bit on the Texans and Saints and what some of the line movements on those have been and what we can learn from it because week 1, I mean, some teams were who we thought they were. I'm referencing the Browns because we definitely called that. Everybody was on the hype train for Cleveland, and you know what? My Titans, the Titans that nobody likes to talk about, beat the Browns by 30 in Cleveland. And Baker Mayfield threw several picks. I'm not going to lie, that was pretty satisfying. Odell Beckham Jr. wore a watch that cost $350,000 and still lost by 30. So I guess if you want to lose, at least look good doing it. We're going to talk about some of the games this weekend and maybe why you should stay away from some of those huge lines. We saw the Seahawks didn't cover almost a 10 spread. I think they were favored by 9.5 over the Bengals, and they only won by 1 point. So some of these lines we'll talk about and why you should maybe not overreact to some of these teams being good in the regular season or in the preseason, and some of these big name pickups. We've got a lot to talk about, including baseball. And don't worry, plenty of college football on the docket today. It's going to be a great show. Stick with us after the break on Picks and Parlays Radio for NFL talk.
Annual sale is officially on. You now have the rare chance to get the latest Dell and Alienware computers with Intel Core processors at 17% off, a discount usually reserved just for Dell employees. Shop a wide selection of leading-edge Dell and Alienware monitors and more, all with free shipping. Call 800-BUY-DELL or go to Dell.com/semi-annual sale to enjoy huge limited-time employee savings. That's 800-BUY-DELL.
Are you an active stock market investor? Well, then you know these 3 key words: buy, sell, hold. Those 3 magic words can make or lose you money in the stock market. What if we can show you a time-tested tool that's been helping stock market investors succeed for over 30 years? It's called VectorVest, an amazing system designed to make smart investing easy. The VectorVest system analyzes, sorts, and ranks over 19,000 stocks every day and tells you when to buy, what to buy, and when to sell any stock to maximize your profits in less than 10 minutes a day. And if you call right now, you can test drive our amazing VectorVest system risk-free for 30 days for just $9.95.
800-584-2519. 800-584-2519. 800-584-2519. That's 800-584-2519.
This is an urgent health notice for all residents suffering from back, neck, knee, and wrist pain. You may qualify for a pain-relieving brace at little or no cost to you, but the deadline is fast approaching. Simply call the Health Alert Hotline now.
You heard right. You may qualify for a pain-relieving back, neck, knee, or wrist brace. These items may even be covered by Medicare or your private insurance. The Health Alert Hotline is your brace company. These specialized braces have been tested for pain relief. Call us toll-free right now to determine your eligibility and to learn how to use your private insurance or Medicare to minimize your out-of-pocket cost. Don't wait. If the deadline passes, you may lose your opportunity to get a pain-relieving back, neck, knee, or wrist brace at little or no cost to you.
800-430-9571. 800-430-9571. 800-430-9571. That's 800-430-9571.
Now's the time to travel and be with the people you care about the most. And at Holiday Inn and Holiday Inn Express, we're helping you be there for less. Save at least 25% at thousands of hotels worldwide if you book by September 24th. You won't want this moment to pass you by. So book today at holidayinn.com. Terms and conditions apply.
And we are back here on Picks and Parlays Radio on the Sports Byline Broadcast Network. I am your host, as I am every day. I'm Chelsa Messinger, and you can find me every day on Twitter at Chelsa Messinger. This is Craig Trapp, who did pretty well in his NFL picks this weekend.
Well, 9-3 in college football start and 3-1 in NFL. But you're only as good as your next pick.
I know.
So, you always say that with the...
So the pressure's on for
asterisk.
tonight.
There's an asterisk, yeah. Tonight, 2 games, and of course, opening Monday Night Football games, always extremely difficult. Before we get to that, of course, we're going to talk NFL Week 2 betting lines. Some unbelievable opening lines here.
All right, so let's hear it. Is it too much of an overreaction? Because that's the problem on Mondays, is we like to overreact, and some of these teams looked really good in Week 1. Some of them looked really bad. The Dolphins, looking at you. Sorry for your fans. Lamar Jackson putting on an absolute clinic against the Dolphins, but as I mentioned, sometimes you can overreact, and sometimes it shows it in these lines.
And when then you have a really good performance last week versus a really bad team, like the Miami is hosting in New England this week, which usually Miami's pretty good as an underdog, which they're always in this series, but opened at 14.5, already bet up to 17.5, and on the move for this many points that quick. I don't know if this one can stay under that 20 plateau, which as far as on the road, I think we're looking at maybe a record as far as the biggest favorite on the road.
So if you like this game, would you take it now?
If you like New England, you
better
take it now.
That's what I'm saying.
If you like Miami, I would wait, because I have a feeling this one ends up over
God,
that
if you
20.
like Miami, please tell me why.
Yeah. I'd
let me know.
If you liked them before, you shouldn't after that game. Maybe this is one you just stay away from. Other games that I just think teams, maybe the line, like Tampa Bay at Carolina, line opened with Carolina -5. Now it's 6.5. I think it says a lot about Tampa Bay struggled again. I mean, Bruce Arians supposed to be the quarterback whisperer. Winston did not look good.
Well, he threw, that's his problem, is decision making. Yes. On and off the field, and I think he threw a couple of bad interceptions. I think I saw the tape on one of them. It was really bad.
The pick six at the end was, I mean, obviously at that point of the game, sometimes you just have to make things happen. But he's just, when you need him on third down, which is the quarterback down,
right?
He's not there for you.
That's what you pay them for, and he's a former first overall pick, and those are throws that he's expected to make. Meanwhile, Carolina, I don't think the score kind of reflected that game. They only lost by 3 to the Rams, which on paper looks, like a quality loss, I would say. I mean,
but the Rams pretty much did what they wanted on offense.
That's what I'm saying. If you watch the game, the Rams looked a lot better than the Panthers did.
And I always say when a team from the West Coast goes to the East Coast and plays early and wins, that's super impressive.
Right.
It's not as impressive when you play that 4 o'clock game, because then it's more like a normal game for them. The other game I think that's interesting, Dallas. Well, there's a lot of interesting game as far as the line movements that we're talking about here. Is Dallas at Washington. Washington did not look as bad as I thought.
Case Keenum did not look too shabby. I don't know if it's a one-trick pony. You know,
never know, because to do it week after week, that's a different story. But the line opened at 7, and it's at 4.5 now. San Francisco at Cincinnati, line is a pick'em now, and it opened with San Francisco at -1. I thought Cincinnati, my Bengals, looked really good. I apologize already because they looked really good, but it's a asterisk there. Last year they looked really good too, and then fell apart after injuries.
But that was a few games into the season.
That was 5, I think, or 6.
It was 5 or 6. So I mean, they had a good start to the season.
And they still didn't have AJ Green. So if AJ Green comes back in a few days, I mean, a few games, they looked really good on offense.
Right.
They do have a lot of weapons if they can protect. And that was the thing. It was their offensive line that was a big improvement. And then Kansas City at Oakland, we already see this line moving. Even though Oakland hasn't even played their Monday Night Football game, Kansas City at Oakland, 8.5 it opened, with Kansas City, of course, being the favorite. It's already at 9.5. If Oakland doesn't play well tonight, this is one that I think will jump to 12.5, 13. So if you do like Kansas City, you probably better get on it now, because this one's probably going to go up. Now, if Oakland, I guess it could go the other way. It could go back down to that 8.5 if Oakland plays really well tonight.
Well, and if Oakland looks, really bad, the line could even go higher. So, like you mentioned,
it could go to 13, I would say.
And I know you were kind of talking about maybe an over in that game, because Kansas City's offense hasn't skipped a beat since last season. It's just a matter of
Tyreek Hill, even him being out, even after he went out, I think it was about the first quarter, it didn't matter. Kansas City was
they have so many weapons.
They
LaShawn McCoy's there now.
Very impressive. Maybe the most impressive, I think. Even though New England looked super impressive, I thought it was really more about how bad the Steelers were, in my opinion at least. When it could have been even worse. I mean, at the end of the game, they just were running and punting as far as New England was concerned, which I appreciated that. I had the under there, so I appreciated that. But Kansas City is definitely one of those teams that, I mean, they put up huge numbers. The total opened at 53.5. It's still at 53.5, but this one, if Oakland scores tonight, like I think they're actually going to, I think they're going to get at least 20 tonight. If they do, I think this total could even go crazier up higher, which we saw last year, Kansas City's totals get almost in
because their defense isn't good and their offense is so explosive, so it's a recipe for a lot of points usually.
Well, and when you leave your defense on the field as much as they do, and you put them on the field that often, it makes them a bad defense even worse because you're not protecting it.
That's the only thing bad about scoring so quickly. With those downfield passes. And I thought it was funny that no-look pass that Mahomes threw wasn't even close. Did you see that?
He does stuff that, especially Andy Reid, that's a quarterback guy. You have to be like, you scratch your head sometimes, but you can't take that away from a guy.
Right, that's part of his. That's part of his identity, and that's part of what makes him so fun to watch. But occasionally, you're going to get that. And you know what? They were winning by a lot, so who cares? I suppose.
But I think the other interesting game could be Philadelphia and Atlanta, because Atlanta was really bad. Philadelphia, the second half, maybe the most impressive half of any team last week, especially on offense. The line opened as a pick'em. Now we see a lot of places have it at Philadelphia -1. I think that could get a lot of steam, and I could see Philadelphia almost at 3 maybe by kickoff, just because Atlanta was not good. Minnesota was very good, but Atlanta was extra bad.
Atlanta has no excuse for not scoring points. Matt Ryan is supposedly a really good quarterback. Devontae Freeman's back. They have Julio Jones. How do you not score points? Because I can understand their defense has never been that great, and I know they suffered a lot of injuries last season, but you got to at least score some points with all those pieces.
Well, to me, it's Minnesota's really good. Last year, they were supposed to be as good as they were last night, but they didn't. Now we've seen it a year later. Dalvin Cook looked unbelievable. For me, my impressive teams were Kansas City, New England, Minnesota, Tennessee, and Dallas. And my least impressive teams were Cleveland, Miami, Pittsburgh, Atlanta, and Detroit, and the Giants. I thought there was a lot of teams in the middle there.
Right, and I don't think that's a hot take.
No, and I think,
I think we all agree with you on those.
The surprising team that was being bad was Pittsburgh and Atlanta. I thought both of those teams
I thought
had a chance.
Pittsburgh was going to at least, keep it close.
I thought both of them had a chance to win their division. After, you don't overreact after 1 week, and I'll go back and look at the tapes, but I would say those teams, unless something drastic happens, are probably going to have a hard time winning their division. Now, that doesn't mean you can't make the wild card. We've seen that before, but that's where we are. But, we should get to the night's games because we got 2 Monday Night Football games.
Yeah, and we've got 2 minutes, so.
Yeah, Denver at Oakland. We haven't covered this one yet. We covered the other one last week, so we'll start with Denver.
Well, because so many variables have changed with Antonio Brown not even playing for the Raiders anymore.
Yeah, I mean, what you go to bed on Friday, you're thinking maybe he'll be suspended, maybe he'll play. Now he's not even on the
No,
team.
he's on the Patriots.
Yeah. Then he gets, then
Which
he's
is a
2
gut
minutes later
punch.
he's on the Patriots, which is like,
For
the
anybody who
conspiracy
is
theory.
not a Patriots fan, it's a gut punch.
Denver -3 though now. That's crazy. Never thought I'd see this line at -3, a month ago. Total of 43. I think you got to take Denver here. My best play tonight's going to be on, you can get it over at picksandparlays.net as I try to make a 4-0 run here on the total. But I think you take Denver here if you play on the side here. I just think Denver has a lot more momentum. They just don't have the negativity that is going around Oakland right now. And I think Oakland's going to take a week to get that out of their system.
Right, and the problem with not having an Antonio Brown is that he's not freeing up another receiver because when you have AB, even if he's not making plays, he's at least a decoy. So even
Right.
if he was just on the field, he would have been a big help for the Raiders, and now their key piece of the offseason, now not a factor, and now playing for the Patriots. The Broncos, I'm interested to see how Joe Flacco looks because we didn't see much of him in the preseason.
Right. We hadn't seen much of anybody in the preseason,
Right.
and some of that was obvious in the games yesterday. Some didn't really matter. At least he's a veteran, you have to say, but he's in a new system. That's
Right.
always a worry. At least he's probably not missing that mile-high air for your first start. It's like,
Right.
maybe I should just wait till next game for that. But I think Denver's to play at -3. And then the other one, we had talked about this last week. Really
20 seconds.
Hasn't moved a whole lot. I still like New Orleans -7. I still like the under 52 in that game. I think that's going to be the better of the two games.
All right, we wrapped it up just in time. When we come back, some baseball talk on Picks and Parlays Radio.
Want to fly somewhere? Looking for cheap flights or cheap tickets? Then call. That's right. Call the low-cost airline travel hotline now for prices so low we can't publish them anywhere. Low Cost Airlines has all kinds of cheap travel deals. Fly domestically and save up to 75%. You can even fly internationally and save even more. Yes, fly anywhere in the world and save a lot of money on your plane tickets. We'll even save you money with cheap travel deals on hotels, rental cars, even complete travel packages. So don't book your tickets until you call us first for the absolute cheapest prices on U.S. and international airline tickets and hotels. Call right now for prices so low they can't be published. Travel experts are here 24/7 to help. 800-754-4531. 800-754-4531. 800-754-4531. That's 800-754-4531.
If you or a loved one is suffering from a physical or emotional condition that has left you unable to work, then listen carefully. Take this number down. 800-593-7491. That's 800-593-7491. When you call, you'll speak with a Social Security disability expert and get a free evaluation to see if you may qualify for disability insurance benefits from the U.S. government. That's right, a monthly cash payment paid directly to you from the Social Security Administration. Whether you're applying for the first time or you've already been denied disability benefits, call now. The disability attorneys at Pinnacle Disability can help you build your case, file an appeal, and represent you at no upfront cost to you. Don't wait another minute to see if you may qualify for your Social Security disability benefits. Call Pinnacle Disability Group at 800-593-7491 for your free case evaluation. That's 800-593-7491. 800-593-7491. Call now.
At 28, I had struggled with opiate and meth addiction for 12 years. I did and said things that the sober me never would have done. One day I realized I was not invincible. I was not exempt. And that's when a friend told me about Elite Rehab Placement. They gave me the tools I needed to get sober, and all it took was the one phone call.
Elite Rehab can help you start to break your addiction problem and get sober in as little as 7 days. And we'll work with your insurance provider to help cover the costs. Plus, we have travel assistance programs to get you here by plane or train. Make this free call right now to learn more. 800-403-5912. 800-403-5912. 800-403-5912. That's 800-403-5912.
And we're back on Picks and Parlays Radio here on the Sports Byline Broadcast Network. I'm your host, Chelsa Messinger. And why I'm laughing is because Sean Higgs has on a massive blonde wig and some kind of chains, and he's attempting to brush his hair that really needs a deep conditioner. Sean, your hair is looking a little dry.
You usually have a nice, like, crazy necklace on.
I do. So you're trying to imitate me.
Well, someone's supposed to be wearing a bald wig. Because,
well, I never agreed to that. That was everybody else around me. And it's okay. So let's give the viewers and listeners a little background. Last week, Sean and I were talking about the Jets and who'd they play? The Bills. The Jets and the Bills game. I did not like Sean's pick of the Bills. And so, you know what? It wasn't one of my stronger plays, but I was like, you know what? For the sake of discussion, I'm going to take the Jets. And I said, if Sean loses, he has to wear a blonde wig. But Sean, you won. So, I mean, I appreciate it.
You weren't going to come through, and you like say I bring the energy, you know. So here, I'll be a little crazy today and put the wig on. I got the Chelsa bling going.
I appreciate your attention to detail because I wouldn't have thought of the necklace because you're right. I either wear like the jewelry on my earrings or the chain.
Yeah,
so
like a big thing. And I had to like mix one of my chains with like one of my wife's because it wouldn't fit around my neck. Her thing. It was like
well. We'll tell Forever 21 or whoever makes that jewelry. You need to make it bigger for plus size necks.
21. Okay, my wife doesn't get her jewelry at Forever 21. All right.
Well, I do. It's a good value. I don't care.
Is it? I don't. Maybe she does. I don't know. She's more of an Ulta gal, but that's makeup.
I'm not gonna lie. I didn't even watch that Jets game because I saw they were up 16-0, and I was like, oh, you know, whatever. Big win there. Then the Jets are gonna Jets. That's all I'm gonna say about that.
And they did.
How'd you do on the rest of your picks as you comb your luscious locks?
Mixed bag. My totals weren't there. Whatever. What are you gonna do? It happens.
Well,
bounce back. We're ready
we've
for
got
tonight.
another week
you know, it's
coming
one day.
right up.
I'm not worried about one day. One day at a time. End of the year, I'll be at my 60%. We'll be fine.
You did call the Packers under, though, didn't you?
Yeah, I said Packers. I said that was my best bet on Thursday night. Packers in the end.
Yeah, so you did well on that one.
Yeah, listen, you know. Whatever.
Right.
You can't even look at the screen with me in my head like this. It's like looking in the mirror. I was going to actually go with some lipstick.
Excuse me? Oh, man. Bad radio. I'm sorry.
I'm getting crazy messages from people now that are watching the show. I said, make sure you tune in today.
Right. I'm sure they don't know who's who. Let's move on to some of these baseball games because we do have to get some of our homework in and our bets. Let's start with Braves, Phillies. Braves, dogs in this one, plus 120. Mike Foltynewicz on the mound for the Braves, 5-5, 5.28 ERA. He has spent some time in AAA this year after last year being a really good pitcher. I believe he was an all-star. He's got great stuff. He throws over 100. He was one of the pieces that the Braves the Astros traded away. He was a first-round pick for the Astros and has since gone to the Braves. Aaron Nola on the mound for the Phillies, 12-4 with a 3.63 ERA. What's your play on this one?
Well, like I said, Folty's back from AAA. Pitching well. He's got a 3.30 ERA his last 6 since coming back, which is helpful. You look at that 5 ERA on a year, and you get a little worried. But I like him here as the dogs. I mean, who was guessing the Braves could actually win 100 games this year when the season started? You know, they weren't on my radar for 100 wins. But you got Freeman, 38, Acuna 37, and Donaldson 36 home runs, 227 home runs as a team. These guys have bashed like out of nowhere. How about 9-1 last 10, 17-3 last 20, 20-5 last 25 games? They're absolutely red hot. That's why they got a 14-game lead here over these said Phillies, who were supposed to run away with the division when they signed Harper, that huge contract. And they're still looking up at the Nats and Braves ahead of them. But I'm backing Folty here as a little dog. Get 120 back on a team that's red hot, one of the best teams in baseball right now. The numbers don't lie. I mean, Nola's got great home numbers. I can't knock him. But I think we got a little too much power in this lineup and the way Atlanta's playing. I think the dog is the play tonight. Take that 120.
Well, and the Braves have a good lineup. The issue for the Braves has been their starting rotation and their bullpen and their pitching, because their lineup has really produced. For the most part, Ronald Acuna is playing better. I know he was slumping for a little bit, but he seems to be catching fire again. And like you mentioned, the Braves have won 89 games. No matter how you slice it, they're a good team. And I think there's some upside when it comes to Fulte, because, like I said, he was an all-star last year, and he has a high strikeout potential. He strikes out a lot of guys. Aaron Nola, on the flip side, he's proven this year too. Anytime you have an ERA under 4, you're doing pretty well. But, I mean, if you're looking for value, I think the Braves might be a good play here.
He's allowed 2 or less runs, Fulte, in his last 4 starts. That's not too bad. If you're telling me to come into this game that we're getting a team that's 20-5 and you got a pitcher on the hill that won't give up more than maybe 3 runs tonight, I'll take him. That's a good play. It's a solid value play. I'm on him. I mean, Atlanta's just get the job done. It doesn't have to be sexy. It doesn't have to have a nice blonde wig on. And
I was about to say, it's jarring to see you without the blonde wig now.
It gets a little hot under that thing. I can't.
Now you know how I feel. How I'm always asking him to turn up the AC. Got all this hair.
An ice pack on my neck or something.
Right. Feel you on that. All right, let's move on.
With the hair. I can't do that.
Let's move on to the Yankees and the Red Sox. The Yankees favored by a slight edge in this one, -110. James Paxton on the mound, 12-6, 4.16 ERA for the Yankees. Eduardo Rodriguez going for the Sox, one of their better starters this year, which is crazy when the rotation had David Price and Chris Sale, and this guy's been their most reliable starter. He's 17-5 with a 3.81 ERA. But the Red Sox just fired their GM, Dave Dombrowski, fired even though they won a World Series last year. Yeah, last year. So, I mean, I mean, Red Sox fans, I guess, are very impatient. But, yeah, thoughts on this one?
Well, like you said, they just fired the GM a year after winning everything. Listen, I like the Yankees, but I'm a reasonable Yankee fan. I mean, as much as any sports fan wants to win a World Series or a Super Bowl every year, chances of that happening are not that good unless you're obviously like a Patriots fan, and I guess
don't get me started on the Patriots.
But listen, I like the Yanks here. Paxton he's on a 7-0 run. His last 7 starts, sub-3 ERA. I mean, you just mentioned Rodriguez at home, 8-1, 3.74 ERA in his 14 starts. Put the nail in the coffin here, Yankees. Hated rivals. This is your number 1 foe. The evil empire. Let's go. Take him out. Finish up, nailing in the coffin. Take 3 out of 4, whatever the series was. And listen, the Yankees are going to win 100-some games and probably get swept out of the first round of the series because they're pitching, unless Tanaka and Paxton come on really strong, and as they have been, it might be a short postseason for the Yanks. But
right, unless they score a ton of runs.
Take care of business tonight. Yeah, Torres got 35 home runs. And the crazy thing, as bad as the Yankees pitching's been, no Stanton basically all year. Judge has been banged up. He didn't play a lot.
Yeah.
Didi's been out. Sanchez, he's got the power, but his average isn't none special. But you got guys like
well, that's most of the guys in their lineup. Most of the guys in their lineup hit a lot of home runs, but they strike out a lot.
Yeah. I mean, exactly. You got, I think, DJ Mateau and who's that? Gio Urshela are the one guys really hitting over 300 for them on a regular. And Gio Urshela? Who's that guy? I don't even know who he was before.
Right, with all the big name players on their team, I mean, you wouldn't expect that to be the guy that's carrying your lineup.
Yeah, and come on, how about, Trapp's probably going to run away with the MVP, but I think Mateau's, DJ, what a great year this guy's having. 24 homers, 90 ribbies, 330 average. Get some votes for the guy. He's who saw that coming from that kid?
Well, and another thing, it seems like the Red Sox, I think I saw a list of the teams that have lost the most money for bettors this season, and the Red Sox are pretty high on that list. And for a team that's won over 70 games, that's kind of surprising. I know people like to bet the Red Sox. They're a big public team, but still, it makes you a little cautious.
That's a perception. You get Chris Sale. Think about how Seattle Mariners started by beating these guys. Sale was like a huge 2-something fave, and he historically falters down the stretch anyway. So maybe he's got arm problems. And the bad thing for them is you got him. Price is another guy who the Yanks have beat up on from his Tampa Bay days. These guys aren't And I don't even think it's just them, because the handful of truly elite pitchers, I mean, we're talking what, maybe 10 guys? 10 really guys that could dominate all the time, if that many? I mean,
Right.
so you're going to lay numbers because you're the Red Sox. 2 year to defend the champs. Here comes Chris Sale with a $30 million contract. You know, the payroll, all that plays a role into the perception of people and what they think of teams, you know? But
All
the
right,
Yankees,
well,
I mean,
we've
come
got
on.
a minute and a half left. So your
All
pick
right.
is the Yankees
Get
on
them
that
out.
one, correct?
Yes. Yankees, minus, what do we got? Minus like 110 on there, 115.
All right, one more
Then we'll move
game.
on to
Cubs,
this,
Padres.
Yep, I like the over here, over 8.5. Cubs bad on the road, 31-40. And Hendricks just as bad as the Cubs. He's got a 5.20 road ERA, 2.95 batting average against. Cal Quantrill, he's given up 8 runs in each of his last 2 starts. I think we'll see some
Right,
runs
I was
here.
going to say
8.5.
16 earned runs in his last 9
Yeah.
innings of work.
Yeah, so that's really not too good. I'm not a mathematician, but you don't want to be giving up 8 runs in a game.
Well, and the total's not that high.
8.5, again, that's a little, you look at it like, why is it, that looks a little low considering you got guys with like big bloated ERAs coming in. But, you know, the Cubs, they have trouble on the road. So, you know, that's why I think we're looking at 8.5, because this could easily be like a 4-2 type game. But I don't know. I think we're going to see some runs here from both teams. Look for like a 8-6 type of affair. Just late night tonight, keep us up late.
Right,
Got the
and
money,
like
not
I
cheap.
mentioned, 8.5 is really not that many runs to score. 9, that's a 5-4 ball game.
And not only that, like the Cubs, as bad as they are, they gotta keep winning. They're a game ahead of, or game and a half ahead of Arizona for the wild card.
Yeah.
Milwaukee's on their heels.
All right,
so
I got to
they
cut you
can't afford to
off.
slip up.
We got to go to
Bye.
break. Thanks, Sean. Picks and Parlays Radio after the break.
At Indeed, we believe a resume is a great way to see an overview of a candidate, but you're not hiring a resume, you're hiring a person. That's why Indeed offers tools that help bridge the gap between a candidate and the resume, like skill tests, which let you actually see a candidate's abilities in action to make sure they're a good fit for the job. See beyond the resume with Indeed. Experience Indeed for yourself today and get a free sponsored job upgrade on your first posting at Indeed.com/promo. Terms and conditions apply.
Do you have a problem hearing the television? Do you need to crank up the volume so loud your family is screaming at you? Then put on your TV ears. TV Ears has helped millions of people just like you hear TV loud and clear without cranking up the volume. For about $60 with a 30-day free trial, you can get your own set of TV Ears. When you wear TV Ears, you can mute the TV volume for private listening or let others watch TV with you. Order in the next 10 minutes and take us up on our 30-day home trial and very special price. TV Ears is a brand hearing professionals have trusted for more than 20 years. And through this special radio offer, you can get your very own for just $60. Just mention promo code RADIO. So put on your TV ears and make everyone happy. 800-984-4207. 800-984-4207. 800-984-4207. That's 800-984-4207.
We paid less for our Craftmatic today than we did 20 years ago.
If you're still searching for the perfect solution to a good night's sleep, call now for prices and free information on today's Craftmatic adjustable beds. And then decide when you see how little they cost. Rated #1 by consumers nationwide on consumeraffairs.com. Craftmatic beds come in all mattress types, including cool gel memory foam for up to 50% less than today's leading memory foam brand. Enjoy temporary relief of low back pain, poor circulation, nighttime heartburn, mild arthritis. You'll sleep better in a Craftmatic adjustable bed. So if you're still searching for the perfect solution to a good night's sleep, call now for prices and information. And then decide when you see how little they cost. Discover Craftmatic for less, up to 50% less than today's leading memory foam brand.
Call 1-800-371-9608. That's 1-800-371-9608. Call 1-800-371-9608. Call now.
Dell Semi-Annual Sale is officially on. You now have the rare chance to get the latest Dell and Alienware computers with Intel Core processors at 17% off. A discount usually reserved just for Dell employees. Shop a wide selection of leading-edge Dell and Alienware monitors and more, all with free shipping. Call 800-BUY-DELL or go to Dell.com/semi-annual sale to enjoy huge limited-time employee savings. That's 800-BUY-DELL.
And welcome back to Picks and Parlays Radio here on the Sports Byline Broadcast Network. I am your host, Chelsa Messinger. You can find me every day on Twitter. My handle is @Chelsa Messinger. And also check us out on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube, where we stream the show live every weekday. Right now, let's get to some college football. We've got Tony T joining us. Tony, first of all, how was your weekend when it comes to college football?
Weekend was great. Friday, Saturday, we go 3-1 against the spread. And Sunday, my Sunday NFL 3-0 ATS, all documented over at picksandparlays.net. Chelsea, you know, I like the fact, too, I went on record here on the show in our college football rundown, and I did say it was going to be a really tough week for the MAC. Well, the MAC conference, 1-8 against the spread in their board games. Northern Illinois, the only cover. And if you were tracking that Buffalo-Penn State game, boy, if you had Buffalo, my condolences.
I know, because Buffalo was actually in that game. Despite being, what were they, favorite, or they were 29.5-point dogs, something crazy like that.
It closed at 31.5.
So 31.5? And they didn't cover, right?
Did not cover.
Oh, man, those games are the worst. Speaking of that Boise State game, where I went out on a limb and tried to disagree with you, and Boise State could have scored another touchdown with a minute left, but they took a knee on the 7-yard line, and man, was I mad. But you got that one right.
Yeah, if that was later in the season, they may have punched it in for the style points. Unfortunately, that was too early in the season to go for the style points.
I know, because on the broadcast, they kept talking about how Boise State was showing respect by not running up the score, and I was like, we don't care about that. Can you watch some of these other games? Nick Saban has no respect for these other opponents. I don't think they covered, though, because I think they were.
Matter of fact, a stat we gave you last week with Alabama under Saban, 0-4 ATS when they're favored by 50 or more. Make that 0-5 did not cover the 55-point spread.
Well, to be fair, 55 points is a lot. It's really a lot.
Yeah, but you need the cojones of Red Rock to take New Mexico State plus 55 the way they look. I'm telling you right now.
I know, but as we've seen in some of these games, that garbage time touchdowns can really make or break some of these bets.
Yeah, they do. And, of course, speaking of garbage, what about this USC team with this first-year quarterback, freshman card, Keaton Slovis, 45-20 win against Stanford, 85% completion rate. But, you know, with this Big 12 offense, we see that a lot with Texas Tech, pretty much plug and play. You put the next guy in. Of course, the quick release, the linemen don't have to hold their blocks. Of course, you got USC talent that really good runs after the catch, and they still kept their running game going. But I was impressed with USC in that win.
Right, I was way off on that one. I did not expect USC to be that good. And obviously, we'd never seen that quarterback before, so I wasn't sure what to expect on that one. But I thought Stanford was going to win that one. But to be fair, I got my LSU and my Texas A&M picks right. So I will give myself a little pat on the back, because that LSU-Texas game, no matter if you were betting it or not, that was a great game.
It was a great game. I watched the replay a couple of times, and boy, Burrow was accurate. But, you know, I came away more impressed with Texas quarterback Sam Ehlinger because he faced the toughest defense.
Right.
And 401 yards passing, 4 touchdowns. The junior really upped his NFL stock, Chelsea.
Even though LSU was, their players were going down right and left, it seemed. I don't know if it was the heat. Some people said they were faking cramps, but that worried me because we talked about those 300-pounders on the line, and it made me wonder how they're going to fare in the next couple weeks in this SEC heat.
Absolutely. Yeah, you got to be concerned about that. Also in SEC, tough break for Kentucky quarterback. I want to get this info out. Terry Wilson out for the season. Last year he completed 65% of his passes. Troy transfer Sawyer Smith will take over as they face Florida at home here, but a big blow here for Kentucky Wildcats.
Right, especially since they lost Benny Snell to the NFL. So, I mean, they were really probably relying on their quarterback to have some veteran depth there on their offense. Let's move on to week 3. Let's talk about some of these lines to start with. Let's start with number 6, Ohio State. Indiana, Ohio State is, I believe they opened as a 14-point favorite. That definitely could have moved. And I have the total as 54, but it really depends on where you get it. What are the lines you have?
I have Ohio State here now, 15. The total moved up to 61 here. And I think we looked at Ohio State pounding Indiana the past 2 seasons. Again, Penix for Indiana, a freshman quarterback. And, Ohio State's had success against Indiana the past 2 seasons. Last year was a 49-21 road win, but must respect the performance here of the Buckeyes. They pounded a really good Cincinnati team, 42-zip. They got tremendous speed. They built up a lead like they did against FAU. Justin Fields accurate against Cincinnati, 20-25, 224 and 2 touchdowns. And this is a really good Cincinnati team that they beat Chelsa.
Right. I thought Ohio State was one of the more impressive teams in this week of college football, because the first week, I mean, you can say, oh, yeah, they blew out FAU because they're not a good team. But Cincinnati, they're supposed to have a really good defense, and Ohio State beat them 42-0, and they were leading 28-0 at halftime. I took Ohio State -7.5 for the halftime bet. That covered pretty nicely. But yeah, it just seems like their offense has so many weapons. Justin Fields looked really good for being a new quarterback. I think we've proven that he's a force to be reckoned with. And just the pieces around him. J.K. Dobbins ran the ball extremely effectively against a really good defense. So, I mean, Indiana's 2-0, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Ohio State just looked so good.
Yeah, and the defense for Ohio State, they're experienced. 9 starters back. Man, when you want to cover these lines, you better get the defense, and they got the defense holding teams just 1.9 yards per rush on an average of 33 carries. And, I think with Indiana, they're going to face a serious test. They face Ball State and Eastern Illinois to open the season. But really what concerns me, Chelsa, is Ball State was able to pile up 400 yards on Indiana, and they threw for 300 yards. That's not a good sign here against Ohio State.
Right, and they played an FCS school in Eastern Illinois. So, I mean, the difference in competition, that's got to be jarring from one week to the next. Speaking of these lines, if you like this game and you like Ohio State, would you try to get this early?
I would try to get it early. I could only see, I think the fact here is that you've got a redshirt freshman, Penix, going for Indiana. People are going to start looking at these numbers here with, you got to toss out that Eastern Illinois number. But really, when you look at that Ball State box score and you see how Ball State was able to move the football, I think you're going to see that line move probably to 17 in my guess there.
So you like Ohio State in this one, I'm assuming?
Yes, I do. Ohio State -15.
All right, so let's move on to Alabama and South Carolina. We were just talking about how Alabama has failed to cover the spread in their last game. They did cover against Duke. They didn't cover in the first half, which usually has been their bread and butter, covering in the first half. 1-4 against the spread in their last 5. They haven't played anybody super great. I mean, New Mexico State, nobody was looking for an upset there. Duke, not great either. This week they play South Carolina. At South Carolina, I did see, maybe check the weather in this one, because they are calling for scattered thunderstorms. So if you're looking for a lot of points, sometimes that may have a factor, because if it's raining, slippery, they're going to run the ball more, and you can't run up the score quite as much.
That's true. And of course, you don't see Alabama in bad weather games very often. I can't remember the last time I've seen them in bad weather. But anyway, this line here is 25, total 61.5. It's not 55. So it's,
right.
it's not as much here. But again, this is a powerhouse facing another freshman quarterback. I got to take Alabama here -25. South Carolina, Jake Bentley broke his foot in the opener. He's out until October. So we got the freshman here, Ryan Helinski, although he's highly touted. But again, it's a little different when you face Charleston Southern here. Is another FCS school. You're facing now the Alabama defense. And, the fact is North Carolina did move the football on South Carolina in the opener. We look here at South Carolina, just 3 of 12 on third down. And, of course, the Tar Heels rolled up 483 yards on that South Carolina defense, Chelsa. So I'm a little concerned there, the fact that South Carolina's defense wasn't sharp.
Even though now that we've seen that North Carolina beat Miami, does that loss look quite as bad when South Carolina lost to UNC? Because obviously South Carolina was favored against North Carolina, and nobody really thought anything of North Carolina. But you know what? They're 2-0. So does that loss look as bad?
Well, all wins and losses aren't the same. That was, in my book, a coin flip game. Miami misses a field goal there, 26-23. It's not really a convincing win. It's just a win. So right. I'm not going to really put much stock on it, especially since we talked about Miami with that freshman quarterback. We talked about it. These freshmen are inconsistent. You don't know what you're going to get from them game to game.
Right. And Alabama, they faced a new quarterback when they played Duke. That Duke quarterback did not fare very well. 0 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, and just 12 of 22. So Ryan Helinski has got his work cut out for him when it comes to his Alabama defense. And 25 and a half, or what was the number you said?
25.
25. Yeah, that's not a huge number to cover. And like I mentioned with Ohio State and Indiana, if you like Alabama, should you take this game early?
Oh, yeah, I'm going to take this game early because Mac Jones is already seen action in 2 games. He got his first touchdown pass. This is the backup here. So if Tua gets pulled, Mac Jones already has game experience, 2 games under his belt, a touchdown pass here last week. And of course, if you look at the Crimson Tide, when they opened up SEC play the past 2 years, it resulted in a 62-7 win against Ole Miss, 59-0 to Vanderbilt.
Right. Let's move on to our third game. It's Arizona State, Michigan State. Arizona State is 2-0. So is Michigan State, despite having those awful uniforms. That's the first thing I noticed when I saw Michigan State play over the weekend. They both have wins, but Arizona State's wins look a little less impressive. They beat a Kent State team that I think was 2-12 last year, 30-7, and then FCS Sac State, 19-7. So Arizona State, some of those wins didn't look very convincing to me. I believe the line started at +7 for Arizona State, and it has moved considerably. The last I saw it was +12.5. Are those the numbers you're getting?
Yeah, I got 12.5, total 45.5. I guess some of the smart bettors finally got the Pac-12 network because I've watched this Arizona State team, and I got to tell you, the freshmen, they're small. That's the first thing you do. When you see Arizona State play, they are just small, and they definitely need time in the weight room. Freshman quarterback Jaden Daniels, I mean, he's got young playmakers in the Sun Devils in the Sun Devils offense. It's a much different team than last year that saw the exit of their starting quarterback Manny Wilkins, and of course N'Keal Harry, who's right now on the New England Patriots on the practice squad. Actually, he's on the injured reserve with the Patriots. Manny Wilkins, I think, is going to play in the XFL. But he's actually talked about ASU faced a weak schedule. FCS opponent Cal State, Sacramento, Kent State. They average only 24 points in those combined in those games. Offense really has not looked good. Just a few big plays here and there, but really not much rhythm, consistency. Just 5 of 17 on third down against Sacramento, Chelsa. So you're gonna, if you don't have Pac-12 network, you're gonna get to finally see this Arizona State team. And I'm gonna tell you right now, they look really small.
Right, and Benjamin has been, the best player on their offense, their running back. And last season against Michigan State, he only ran for 27 yards. So Michigan State, their calling card has been their defense against the run, and that's one of the few things that Arizona State normally does well. So that's my question: can Arizona State score some points against this Michigan State defense that's so good against the run?
Yeah, it's going to be tough for ASU to do that. I mean, unless there's broken coverage, a slip here and there, that's the only chance I see. I could see 2 field goals here from the ASU offense. And of course, with Michigan State, you're going to have to sweat it a little bit. If they can get to 24 points, I think they can cover this game, especially when they have experienced quarterback that got their offense in gear a little bit. They faced a MAC team. They crushed another MAC crushing team they defeated last week. But again, they looked good against Tulsa, did that Michigan State defense, holding the Golden Hurricane to minus 73 rushing yards.
Right. They did cover last week, too. They're favored by 15 and beat Western Michigan, excuse me. They're in the MAC, right?
Yes, they are.
Yeah, as you mentioned, team. Not a great week for the MAC.
No, it wasn't. And, of course, Michigan State, with experience, 9 starters return on the offense, 8 to the defense. And, of course, Brian Lewerke, now he's healthy. He's got all 5 back in the offensive line. So, because this is his walk year unless he becomes a graduate transfer. So, Lewerke's got to pull up some numbers here for his NFL stock.
All right, those are our college football picks. Again, we thank Tony T for joining us. We're back after the break for more Picks and Parlays Radio.
Not too long ago, it felt good to withdraw your cash from the bank, didn't it? For a vacation or a new car. But today, withdrawing your own cash has become risky. Pat Boone here for Swiss America. According to The Secret War, a new Swiss America white paper, I learned that all banks are now required to spy on you and me for the government, and then report any financial behavior deemed suspicious or unusual. You must read The Secret War. It's free. Truth is, I believe the government's new war against cash is really a war against us all. But the secret is now out. So please, get and read The Secret War.
Pick up your phone and call right now. 800-932-5517. 800-932-5517. 800-932-5517. Once again, that's 800-932-5517.
Hi, I'm Dr. Robert Clapper, Chief of Orthopedic Surgery at Cedars-Sinai Medical Group in Los Angeles, California. Dedicated to your health, your life, and your sports. As a weekend warrior, you know about sports injuries and pain. Exercise is an important element in keeping your body's core in good shape to minimize sports injuries. But when you are in pain, there is one product that I recommend to my patients, and that is Blue Goo Gel. Blue Goo consists of a proprietary formula developed specifically for the treatment of inflammation and general muscle aches and strains. I recommend Blue Goo for my patients coping with hip and knee pain before surgery, especially bursitis and tendinitis. Give Blue Goo a try. Call 1-888-330-0123 and you'll receive a 1-week supply of Blue Goo absolutely free. The makers of Blue Goo are even paying the shipping. The number again is 1-888-330-0123. If you want more information on Blue Goo, visit online at www.dothegoo.com.
Now available at select Big 5 stores near you.
Money Now 100 is not a lender, broker, or agent of any lender or financial advisor. We do not make loans or credit decisions. You must be 18 years or older and a U.S. resident to qualify. This is not an offer or solicitation to lend. I went to MoneyNow100.com and got the $5,000 I needed deposited in my account the next business day. If you need money for any reason, help is here. Go to MoneyNow100.com and get the money you need. Need to pay off credit card debt? Go to MoneyNow100.com. Need your car repaired? Need home improvement money? Visit MoneyNow100.com. If you need fast cash for any reason, go to MoneyNow100.com. Good, bad, or no credit at all. Go to MoneyNow100.com. You could get up to $5,000 as soon as the next business day. Go to MoneyNow100.com on your phone, tablet, or computer. Type in the address bar MoneyNow100.com. That's MoneyNow100.com.
Welcome back to Picks and Parlays Radio here on the Sports Byline Broadcast Network. I'm your host, Chelsa Messinger. You can find me on Twitter at Chelsa Messinger, and also check us out on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. If you search Picks and Parlays, we're really easy to find. We're usually the first thing that pops up. And we always appreciate your feedback if it's nice and respectful, and you keep it PG-13 at best. We had a full show, a very full show. We had plenty to talk about, recapping the past weekend and moving forward to this weekend. We had so much to talk about. Let's recap some of our picks for today. In case you weren't listening, Craig Trapp had a nice little NFL pick for us on Monday Night Football. Broncos at Raiders. He's taken the Broncos in this one -3. Moving on to Sean Higgs' MLB picks. Braves at Phillies. Taking the Dogs in this one. The Braves +120. Yankees Red Sox taking the Yankees at -110. And the Cubs and the Padres taking the over. 8.5 runs was the total in that one. Moving on to Tony T's college football picks. Ohio State at Indiana, taking Ohio State at this one -15. And if you like Ohio State, you might want to jump on that early because that line's probably going to move even higher because Ohio State looked so good in their past 2 wins. Alabama at South Carolina, taking Alabama -25. Yeah, that's a big number, but not nearly as big as the 55 points that they were supposed to cover this past weekend. Granted, South Carolina is an SEC opponent, but Alabama has looked so strong, and South Carolina is without their starting quarterback, Jake Bentley, for the remainder of the season. Arizona State at Michigan State, taking Michigan State -12.5. Those are our picks for the day. We've got plenty more where that came from. We're back here tomorrow at 1 Pacific, 4 Eastern on Picks and Parlays Radio. Bet, win, repeat. We'll see you tomorrow.